Well, it's fall in Colorado, which means the weather is about to get weird. Now, I don't care where you live. If you live in the desert and you're getting ready to pull your cars out of storage and start using them a whole bunch, well, guess what? You're going to want to protect your car. But like many places in the USA, you're going to probably want to prep your car for the winter. Now, when it comes to your paint, your glass, your plastic, there's a different process for each of these things, but no matter what you do, the first thing you want to do is give your car a really thorough cleaning. So, I went ahead and I cleaned the motor of this little old Jeep. Then, I cleaned the wheels and I cleaned the tires. And I wanted to make sure and get them extremely clean because now's the time that it's easiest to go ahead and clean and protect those for the winter. Make sure when you're giving your car a really thorough bath that you really thoroughly clean out your wheel wells. You don't want those things holding any kind of crud through the winter. Then I went ahead and cleaned the paint. I washed this thing super thoroughly. I wanted to make sure and get all the dirt out of all the nooks and crannies. I gave it an extra couple squirts. I wanted to make sure and really do a thorough job washing the car. Now, after I finished washing it, just to save a little time while it was still wet, I went ahead and I clayed the whole vehicle down. By claying while the vehicle's still wet, you can save a step, and it's really pretty effective way to go ahead and remove all the surface contamination that's stuck to your clear coat. Now's not exactly the time to go ahead and perfect my paint. I'm not going to get out my machine polisher and get all the paint totally perfect before sealing it up for the winter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to seal it up. I'm going to protect everything so that come springtime, then I can go ahead and make it perfect. But if your vehicle is in decent shape, this is not the time to go ahead and get it perfect before beating on it all winter long. Now, the first step to preparing this vehicle for the cold winter is going to be to coat the undercarriage. I already did a really thorough job cleaning them, so now it's time to use our invisible undercarriage spray to really give this some nice protection. Since I'm on concrete driveway, I don't want to stain it, so I've grabbed some paper towels. I'm going to put some down behind and in front of the tires so that when I come in to spray, I don't want to put any sort of stain or any kind of marks on my driveway. So, invisible undercarriage spray makes your wheel wells disappear, but it also makes snow and crud and mud fall off. This is a great product for getting your wheel wells ready for what comes ahead. Awesome. Now, besides looking fantastic, you're also adding a whole bunch of protection to the underside of that wheel well. I'm going to go ahead and do the other three. I'm going to come back and do the next step to your winter prep. Now, the wheel wells look fantastic. You're going to notice that as the undercarriage spray dries, it's going to dry to a matte finish, okay? It's going to be kind of a dull black, but it's going to make your wheel wells real easy to clean all winter long. So now it's time to go ahead and do the tires. The reason I like to do the tires, especially when I have big tires, I like to do these next because the overspray that I'm going to get from our tire shine might go onto the fenders a little bit, and the best thing to do is not be repetitive. I don't want to be redundant in any way when I'm taking care of the car. So here I am. I don't also want to put any muck down on the nice concrete driveway. So just take a little paper towel, put it down so that you don't stain anything. Now, tire shine. Tire shine is an awesome protectant for your tires. It lasts and lasts, it holds up well. It also makes your tires easier to clean. Now, I cleaned these tires extremely well before, okay? I scrubbed the snot out of them. So they're super clean, but now it's time to go ahead and use the tire shine to protect them for the winter. I always like to spray the outer tread first, and then get the part of the tire that's closest to the rim so that I don't overspray the snot out of the wheels, making a big mess to clean up later. Spray a little bit into our foam block. And then if you have the little ridges in your tires, make sure you go with the ridges so that you can get the tire dressing to lay down just right in your tires. All right. I'm going to go ahead and knock out the other 3, move on to the next step.
You want to make sure and clean your engine really well before the winter. Why? What a weird thing to do. Let me tell you why. 1, there's leaves that are falling in the fall. There's pine needles that are falling in the fall. When those leaves and needles fall in the cracks around your hood, what that's going to do is going to block all the drain holes so that when it rains or snows and the snow melts and turns back into water, that stuff doesn't just hold all of that water and all that moisture on your paint and in the nooks and crannies somewhere where it can rust. So instead of making this little Jeep age in dog years, let's get that out of there. Let's be really intentional about removing anything that could cause the drainage from being blocked. So I cleaned the snot out of this thing. I went crazy with all-purpose cleaner, with our wheel cleaning tools. I wanted to get crazy and clean this motor really, really well. And now that I've got it clean, I want to dress it. I want to protect it. I want to protect the hoses, the belts. And how I'm going to do that? 2 products, in and out spray and vinyl rubber and trim dressing. So this aerosol product, in and out spray, is unbelievable at protecting all of these rubber and plastic pieces under the hood. Let me show you how it works. Notice how it turns these hoses totally dark. This is awesome protection for under your hood. Make sure and get all of the electrical fittings and anything that you can't get easily with a sponge. All of these little accordion style hoses, just go ahead and knock those out, and anything you can't reach easily. All right, so all the nooks and crannies now I've knocked out with the in and out spray, and it looks fantastic. However, I haven't gotten the big areas or the big long pieces of rubber. So now I want to go ahead and get the vinyl rubber and trim dressing, a thick lotion, okay? And I'm going to use this to get the rest of that. So I'm going to rub this into the sponge so I don't have to go and wipe any residue off later. And watch this. Then up here, okay, now up here, you'll see these big flat plastic areas. Make sure you get all that with the VRT, the vinyl rubber and trim dressing. It is a great product for treating and protecting all the plastic pieces under the hood. All right, now take a look at this engine compartment. It looks fantastic, and more importantly, it is really well protected for the winter. The plastic on the exterior of your vehicle is going to get hammered. The sun hates it. The weather hates it. No matter what happens, your plastic's going to need some protection. So here's how to do it. First, clean it really well. Wash it really well. If you can't get all the gook off it with a wash soap, make sure and use some all-purpose cleaner and give it a gentle scrub. That'll take all the dirt out of the pores of the plastic. Then, once you've got it nice and clean, you want to get the big panels with the vinyl rubber and trim dressing. Now, VRT, thick lotion, easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and apply it to these surfaces to add a ton of protection. This is SPF 30. So it's basically putting lotion on the plastic that acts kind of like sunscreen. This keeps your plastic from fading, and it keeps it easy to clean. When your plastic's really dry, it gets harder to clean, and all the kind of crud that you're gonna kick up all winter long is more apt to stick to it. So look how much nicer that looks. Now, as I'm going around, I can see that there's this area which is tough for me to get with a sponge. I can only get so much of it without getting really down deep into there, which is perfect for the in and out spray. Watch this. This is the in and out spray. It's kind of like an aerosolized version of the VRT, so you can get into the nooks and crannies here, 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 and in here where I couldn't reach the sponge. So, oh yeah, nice. in here. Fantastic. In there, in here. So all these little nooks and crannies are really hard to get. With a sponge, just get the in and out spray and knock it out, okay? Because it looks fantastic and it's quick and easy. There's no way you can reach into these spots without spending a ton of time. Save time, in and out spray, same SPF rating as the VRT, and it's really easy to use. And now watch as I come through with the in and out spray and just go, whoop. Oh, perfect, hello, bye-bye. Okay, here's an important note. After you're done treating your running boards on any vehicle, make sure you either A, take a dry towel and knock down some of the product that's on there, either the in and out spray or the vinyl rubber and trim dressing, or just make sure not to step on them. Don't fall, don't hurt yourself. Do not bleed on these running boards. That's my point. Don't hurt yourself. These are a little bit slippery once you do it. RVRT and in and out spray, neither one of them are super slippery. However, on this, if you're really gonna treat them well, there's gonna be some slipperiness that's not typically there, so be aware. Face it, the most important thing in the world is your safety. You wanna make sure and be able to see through your glass, regardless if you're trying to pass an 18-wheeler that is just completely billowing with nasty, dirty, mucky water, which completely makes you blind as you're driving past it. You want to keep your glass sealed. Sealed? Yeah. Seal your glass. Keeping your glass sealant up will keep your visibility awesome. Another thing, it makes salt and snow and ice really easy to remove from your glass. Let me show you how it works. First, wash and clay your glass. Second, take your microfiber applicator pad and your glass sealant. Put a little bit into there and a little bit under your glass. Come over your glass, your freshly cleaned glass that's been clayed, and you're gonna apply the glass sealant until it removes all the marks from your wipers. And you'll see what I'm saying as you go ahead and start. You really need to make sure and get all the way down through all the crud in your glass and get the glass sealant to really seep into the pores of your glass so that it's completely sealed up, making your winter driving much, much safer. Okay, I think I've got that stuff pretty well gone. So get the glass. I'm going to go around and do the entire vehicle. I'm going to seal all the glass. The windshield, it's essential to have sealed. The rest of the car, it's nice to have sealed because it makes your glass so much easier to clean. If you have glass shower doors at home, use the glass sealant. Any glass that you're constantly cleaning, if you seal it, it's much easier to clean. I've got all the glass, and I also went ahead and got the rear view mirror. So this thing's gonna be easy to clean for the whole winter. So now it's time to go ahead and remove that residue. Here's what we do. Removing the residue is easy. You cannot use Windex or anything that's got alcohol or ammonia in it. Make sure you're using, of course, Adam's glass cleaner, but this will not remove the protection. Now, how long does the protection last? Everyone's question. This protection will last approximately 1 tank of windshield wiper fluid, which is mostly alcohol, or about 350 miles of rain driving. Just the friction of the wipers on the glass will remove it eventually, okay? Look how perfect that glass just came out. I'm gonna go ahead and knock all this off now, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit the paint. Gosh. Much better. I was not worried about getting the paint or the glass with the VRT or the in and out spray. I wasn't worried at all. So there's a little bit left over all around these little spots. Don't worry about it, don't remove it. Instead, let's go ahead and do a really thorough protection on your painted finishes, okay? On your painted metal, plastic, fiberglass, carbon fiber, whatever. Liquid paint sealant is an extremely durable paint sealant. It's a polymer. People say that you can do your car every 5 years, something that has this much polymer in it. Don't buy it, that's baloney. You should do your car twice a year, okay? Do your car twice a year so that you don't want to enter the oxidation phase. Don't let your car get overly contaminated. It's not worth it. Doing your car twice a year is not too much to ask, especially when your product works as easily as our liquid paint sealant does. Now, I like to use either a machine or by hand. I like to use this little red and black hex grip applicator. And then apply a little bit of the liquid paint sealant to your applicator pad. Then go ahead and apply to an area that you can easily remove, and don't drop a whole bunch of product down into the nooks and the crannies. You don't want to take that much time later to remove all of that. In other words, when I've got this much product on my applicator, I don't want to go crossing a crack like this, okay? Because then I'm just going to put a bunch of product into that crack, and then when I'm done polishing, I'm going to see a bunch of dried stuff in there. Don't waste your time and energy. Be efficient and remove the product easily from wherever you apply it. People say, do I go in circles or back and forth? For me, either one. When you're using an abrasive method to apply or remove polish, then you have to be very careful about if you go circles or back and forth. This is not abrasive. The product's not abrasive. The applicator's not abrasive, so it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that you get the panel covered completely. Now, after I'm done doing one whole panel, say the hood in this instance, then I'll go ahead and remove it. And I just want to make sure I see how's it looking. Is it coming off easy? You're going to notice it comes off very easy. Very shiny. You want to make your wheels real easy to clean all the time? Use liquid paint sealant on them 4 times a year. Why more than the rest of your car? Well, that's because the heavy duty cleaners that you're going to be using on your wheels will reduce the lifespan of the liquid paint sealant. But if you do it quarterly, you will love how easy your wheels are to clean. All right, so I'm done. No more liquid paint sealant. Now it's time to remove it. I'm going to use our double soft microfiber polishing towel. It is a super premium towel. When you're using liquid paint sealant, it's a really heavy polymer, so the better the towel you use, the better. If you're using those cheap Chinese towels you buy in the bundles for like 10 bucks a bundle, they're not going to work very well. In fact, I wouldn't use those towels for anything except checking your oil and cleaning your exhaust tips. So make sure you're going to use a nice towel on all of your painted surfaces. Oh yeah, that looks great. Awesome. So I went ahead and finished the entire Jeep, and now I'm coming over to remove it, and it still comes off really easily. So even in the direct sunlight, you're going to notice the liquid paint sealant, easy on, easy off. You don't need to wait and do one panel, put it on, take it off. You can finish the whole thing, even in the sun, come back over and knock it off. All right, well, I've got the liquid paint sealant pretty much off, and I think we're ready for winter. Now, just to recap, what we went ahead and did, we gave it a thorough wash. We wanted to make sure and clean even the engine, make sure all the leaves are out of the cowl. Then, a really, really thorough job cleaning the wheels and tires and the wheel wells. We wanted to make sure that we did these things in order so that we're not redundant. Again, this process is to make your job easier and to make your protection the most effective as it can possibly be. So, 1, cleaning. 2, protecting. Once we've gone ahead and cleaned this thing really well, we wanted to make sure and remove the contaminants from the clear coat. We used a clay bar. The clay bar removes all the contaminants from the paint, the glass, and anything smooth, the headlights. So we clayed it to get all the contaminants off, and at that point, we went ahead and dried it off. After drying off the Jeep, we went ahead and protected the wheel wells. We used our invisible undercarriage spray. After that, we went ahead and did the tires, because again, we don't want to have the overspray go all over the car and have to come back and remove it. So timing is everything on this process. for all the plastic, for all the trim, for the engine compartment, for all that stuff. We used a combination of the in and out spray and the vinyl rubber and trim dressing. That combo is so easy and so effective at every little nook and cranny, protecting it for the winter, keeping it from drying out and from fading. All your plastic and rubber is going to make it through at least this winter, if not longer. Next, we did the glass. We went ahead and clayed every inch of the glass on this Jeep. Then we used our glass sealant. We went around and applied it to every single inch of glass on this Jeep. Why? Because it's that much easier to clean. It's that much less likely for the snow and the ice to stick to it. And if you're passing a truck, the weather's awful and you're getting sprayed, the water, the mud, the crud, it won't stick to your glass. 50 miles an hour or more, you're gonna see that water going right over the roof. And then the very last thing we did, we went over every inch of the painted surfaces of this Jeep with our liquid paint sealant and made it look brand new or better. Check it out. This thing looks great.